Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gabrielle from the Utica Public Library, and we're happy to have some people from the Central New York SNAP Ed office here to do a food demonstration on healthy and low-cost meals for individuals and families. Kristen will be doing the food demonstration today, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment on our Facebook video online, and we can answer them at the end if people watching at home have any questions as well. And people watching here can ask questions as well. So, all right, Kristen, take it away.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I'm excited to be here with you all. So my name is Kristen. I am with the SNAP Ed New York program through Cornell Cooperative Extension in Oneida County. And today we are going to be doing a food demonstration. We're going to be sampling a healthy Three Sisters soup. So we'll get to that after, but we are going to do a little bit of a nutrition lesson first from my plate for my family. And so in this presentation, I will be providing skills on to help you make healthier meals for you and your family. So we're going to pull up a PowerPoint presentation. Feel free to ask any questions as we go through this, and yeah, we'll get started. All right, so again, my name is Kristen. I live in SNAP Ed New York. I am a nutrition educator with the program. So today we will be talking about ways to plan meals that are easy, affordable, healthy, and fast, and give some different tips and ideas on that. We will give tips and ideas on how to shop for low-cost foods from all of our My Plate food groups. And we will also be talking about ways to save time when cooking meals, and including your family and making meals if that's applicable to you. All right, so I want to start off with asking you all some questions. So what do you decide, or how do you decide what to make for dinner? What does a quick meal look like in your home? And how do you choose healthy meals? You can answer any of those questions or all three if you'd like.
There was a number of questions, so could you repeat?
Yeah, so they also are up here on screen.
Oh.
Might be a little far away, but
Would you feel comfortable taking your mask off? I think it'd be a little clearer.
yeah, I'm just not sure if I'm allowed to, but I will try to enunciate if I can. So how do you decide what to make for dinner? And maybe how do you decide to make healthy meals for dinner?
Well, I don't know about these two, but I just try to include greens, vegetables,
Nice.
and I like to eat a lot of those,
That's good to hear.
and some meat.
Yeah. Do you
But
usually?
in my own personal situation, I have to eat often during the day.
Okay.
Okay, and I have to have food on me basically at all times. Because when I run up against that wall, I have to get food in me,
Okay.
okay? But as for the meals, breakfast is always the same. And lunch and dinner vary according to the time and my schedule.
Yeah. Great.
But I love to cook.
I really love to hear that. Thank you for sharing. Go ahead.
I live alone, and as I was mentioning, I do have non-symptomatic hypoglycemia. So what I plan for dinner is based on what my number is. If the number's like around 100, then I can have a normal meal. If it's closer to 80 or lower, then I want to make sure that I'm getting adequate carbs and of various sources, so that it's not all, boom, hit you in the face and then, And I've been told to try to have protein with the carbs, try to have whole grains, that sort of thing. And if the sugar's on the high side, like 140 or something, then I'll treat myself to having extra vegetables. But, it's all in the numbers,
Right.
so to speak.
Yeah. So for you,
And what happens to be in the fridge and freezer.
right. So for you, it sounds like you're already planning, healthier meals, around your health choices, and you kind of have a good schedule of what you like to eat. So I really appreciate you all for sharing that. I know for myself, I will share. I like to plan usually on like Sunday. I think about what I want to make the week. I look up some recipe ideas. At work, we always have a lot of recipes, that we make, and I make at home. So I plan on Sunday. I go shopping for the week and usually make 2 or 3 meals Because I love leftovers. It's not for everybody, but I love to eat leftovers. So great, thank you again for sharing. Okay, so I want you to think now, what's your favorite family meal that you can cook really fast with your eyes closed? Think about that and think, is it healthy, is it quick, and is it low cost? If anyone wants to share what that meal is, that's fine. Is there a meal you always go to that you cook, that you know the recipe by heart?
I would be doing it with my eyes closed because I would need to make sure that I'm grabbing the right food items without dropping them all over the floor.
Well, this is more of what's a recipe you know by heart, not necessarily actually cooking it.
Oh, the
that way.
recipe.
Yeah, like what's one of your go-to recipes? Is it something that's easy? Is it healthy? And is it quick? And it's okay if you say no to those questions because we're going to talk how to do that. Yeah.
Depending on my number, what I like to do is I had 60-second brown rice that I can microwave in a little bowl, and it has no sodium added, no fat in it, and so forth. So I'll cook that for like 50 seconds, and I will also turn around and get some sort of frozen vegetables, and I will cook it almost full done with no sodium added chicken broth, that actually more like chicken stock because it's got more protein in it. And I have some minced onions and some Italian seasoning. And so I will put that in order to flavor the broth without using like Vermont packets and all that other strange stuff. So I'll do that, or if I happen to have some shrimp, I might thaw some shrimp and break it up into smaller pieces and mix it in with the vegetables and such with clam juice, rather than the unsalted broth.
Great. So you have a lot of quick, easy, go-to recipes. That's really great to hear. So for anyone else watching though, if you think of your favorite meal or something you make all the time, and it's not necessarily healthy, it might take you a while, and maybe it costs a lot to make, that's okay. Because again, I'm going to go over some tips today to help you make more recipes with those things, okay? So everything we eat and drink over time matters, and we want to start small, right? A lot of times people do a big overhaul trying to eat healthier, cook healthier, and it gets overwhelming and they give up. So it's really about those small changes and thinking about everything we eat over time. All right, so everybody counts. And we're going to help you. Learn about how to do that today. So I'm going to be sharing some of the main points that are in this handout that you got today. But we're going to start with My Plate first. So has everyone heard of My Plate before? This image up here. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it.
You have.
Yeah.
So formerly it was My Pyramid. You might have heard of that one. This is the newer version of that. So My Plate is a visual tool that helps us build healthy meals using all 5 sources of fruit, vegetables, greens, protein, and dairy. Okay, so again, it is more of a visual tool to remind us to make those good food choices that are going to promote health and a healthy weight to prevent disease. So these are the main messages of My Plate. So the first one is to make half your plate with fruits and vegetables. And that can be any form. You can use fresh, frozen, canned, just watching out for those added sodium or added sugars. And we really want to focus on whole foods when we can and vary our veggies. So eating a lot of different colors is really important to get all those benefits. And the message of make half your plate fruits and vegetables is anytime you're eating a meal, think of how you can add a fruit or vegetable just to get all those important benefits. The next message is to make half your grains whole grains. Yes.
In regards to fruits and vegetables, I have difficulty with the fruits component. I have cut out all of my fruit juice, and I used to have a snack of dried fruit.
Yeah.
But now, from being educated more, it's like I'm almost afraid to get a pear.
Yeah.
Or afraid to grab those sorts of things. And basically, I have fig Newtons as a last resort because there is absolutely nothing other than carbs in it.
Right. So for your specific health condition, you're going to want to work with your dietitian to figure out exactly, because they all have different amounts of sugar. You might only be able to have like half of one, right, at a time. But it is important that you're focusing on those whole fruits, right, because of the fiber in it. It's going to help control that, your blood sugar better, right, the sugar in your blood. So again, work with your dietitian because that's a specific medical condition. But for others who don't have that limitation, it's still important also to try to eat whole fruit when you can and limit juice, but they might be able to eat more than certain conditions. So thank you for sharing. So make half your grains whole grains. That sounds like brown rice, whole wheat bread, oatmeal. Again, it's half. So if you really like, white pasta, you can still have that. But try to switch over some of your grains to whole grains for the added fiber and the added nutrients. Move to low-fat or fat-free milk or yogurt. So fat is a big component in our diet, right? So dairy and dairy products are a big source of that fat in our diet. So moving to low-fat or fat-free is a way that we can help keep that lower. And vary your protein routine. So this is including animal and plant sources. I'm focusing more on eating more plant sources because we tend to get a lot of animal proteins in our diet. And also includes seafood 2 to 3 times a week as well to get all those extra nutrients. And then overall, I want to try to drink and eat less sodium, saturated and trans fats, and those added sugars. Okay, so anytime you're choosing a product, looking at the nutrition label to see if those are in there, if they're high, and then the kind of foods that we choose, right, will help with those main messages. So I just wanted to review that with My Plate. So every time you see that My Plate logo, we really want to think about those key messages, and we'll talk about them a little bit more today. Are there any questions on My Plate? I'll move on.
The only thing that I question or would like more information on, when it comes to low fat and diet, no cows and all, which in some circles they say that actually makes you fatter.
I know.
Okay, now where is the truth?
So it's all nutrition is always very controversial, right? And it's always ever changing. So there is some evidence to show that when you have like whole milk, it's higher fat, right? So it keeps you full longer, and that's how people can lose weight because they're not going to eat a lot. But I look at it as if you really like whole milk, still drink whole milk. But fat is still fat, right? And too much in our body can impact us. So think about maybe if milk is something that you're fine drinking lower fat, do that. But then there's fat in other sources in our diet, right? You can have a meat we eat, you can have snacks we choose. So I can only say that, the research is still developing. But as far as our guidance, we use the Dietary Guidelines for Americans, which the new 2020 to 2025 ones just came out. So in that, it's still recommending to have low fat or fat free. But you're certainly correct that the evidence is always changing, and some people do say that whole milk or whole fat could be beneficial.
Well, the other thing that you run up against also is 1 week something is bad for you, next week someone's touting it as good for you.
Yes.
And
Coffee, wine.
Can never get made.
Is there any place that you can really put your trust in, or must you just go by, hey, is what you're doing getting the results you want?
Right. I believe, listening to your own body is certainly important. But in terms of like accurate sources, make sure you're looking for like .gov websites, or I don't know if you go online to look up research, but trusted educational sites rather than just information on Facebook or, there's so much misinformation on the web that it is tricky. I can give you some resources after for some of the handouts of websites, if you would like. Great question. All right, so these are just a few tips. Sorry, go ahead.
I came here to learn. One of my difficulties is that if you read the small print, it actually says usually that it's based on a 2,000 calorie diet. I have no idea how many calories I should be having personally, and how to convert the numbers in order to make sure
Right.
that I truly know as far as for my daily supply, this, that, or the other thing, with the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Is, through the roof versus I'm assuming it's okay, because it's only a certain
So that's a
percent.
good point. On average, I would say most adults are around 2,000. There is a resource or a tool on myplate.gov where you can put in your age, your gender, your physical activity level, and it generates how many calories you need. Typically, as you get older, it might go more towards 1,600 calories in a day because you're not growing anymore, you're not utilizing as much energy. But unless your dietitian tells you you need to be that worried about your product, I would say you're probably still okay. You could do the math once you figure out how many calories you need. Each nutrient provides a different amount of calories per gram, right? Fat is 9, carbs are 7. So you could do that math. You can probably research it online and figure it out. But I would say you're probably still a little close enough to 2,000. But I can give you that website as well to find out your exact amount.
Because I do know that with certain things that I have to be cautious with.
Right.
She actually tells me less than X number of
That's good, yeah.
calories per day
Right.
for certain key things. But overall, it's I'm looking at this, it's okay.
I know,
I'm
it's
supposed to be
tricky, right?
making sure I get plenty of iron.
Yeah.
And this here says 10% of the daily value. It doesn't say how many milligrams. And so I was okay, depending on the number of calories I'm having or whatever,
Mhm.
how do I know if this is 10% iron or maybe 15% iron?
Right, yeah. And then you should be able to work with you more to figure that out. Like I said, it depends on how much you need. But another really good question, thank you. All right, we're gonna quickly go through some more of those tips in your handout. The first one is to help you save time and save money when preparing and prepping your meals. So one of the best tips I can say is cook when you have more time. So I mentioned I do my meal prep on Sundays because that works for me, right? I don't work on Sunday. I go grocery shopping and get all my groceries, and I do that when I have time. Maybe you have kids, maybe you have other people in the house you have to cook around, so that might be a Tuesday evening for you. That might be a different day of the week. But don't try to cook when you're already overwhelmed because you're gonna, maybe not eat as healthy, just get takeout quickly. That's one quick way you can do that. Another good tip is to double your recipe. So, for example, I just made some vegetable lasagna roll-ups on Sunday, and it made probably 8 servings or something, and my husband doesn't eat it, so I've been eating that every day for lunch, but I froze half of it, so I have that ready for another meal. So either double it, or if you're only cooking for yourself, you can have extra, right? All right, some more tips are have quick meals on hand. So things you can easily just microwave or broil or stir fry. Speaking of stir fry, I really like making fried rice dishes with chicken, right? It's a quick go-to. You might have frozen vegetables in your freezer or fresh or anything you have on hand. Just try to have some meal ideas that, are quick and easy, and it's just kind of your fallback if you're not prepping ahead. Use low-cost food. So there's certain foods that are low-cost year-round, right? So things like canned meats or fish, canned fruits and vegetables are frozen. Things that you can have on hand that are easy and ready to serve for you. Prepping or simple meals and snacks as well. So things like, you already have your vegetables or your fruit sliced up and ready to go on the fridge. I know for me, if it's in the package, I might just leave it there, right? But if you have it ready to go, available in your fridge, it's easy to grab and take with you. All right, and this last set is for saving money, okay? So
Yeah,
we all want to save money, right?
gotta stretch it.
Stretch your food dollar, good job. So one way is to use SNAP benefits if you are on those. They're a great way to supplement your food dollars. Plan ahead. I can't stress this enough. Thinking about that day of the week that you can plan. Figure out your meals, especially if you are cooking for others. It's going to help you stay on target for your health and your goals of making that food. Who makes a shopping list when they go shopping? Do you make a
Who
shopping
makes a list?
Do you make a shopping list before you go shopping?
Oh, yes.
Good. I like to hear that.
I don't stick to it very often.
Yeah.
I make it.
Yeah.
Often I go in for one thing and end up with many.
Right. That happens to a lot of us. But if you don't have a list at all, I know for me personally, it's walking in every aisle, right, and buying all the junk food you don't need and everything you're craving. So making a list helps.
Well, generally it's price. Generally price dictates it.
That too, yeah,
Because if you see something that you're going to use
right,
and it's low, then buy it, and,
right.
you know. So,
Absolutely, yes. Okay, so making sure to check those store flyers is really important as well. Do you check ahead? I know there's a lot of like apps now where the stores have apps on your phone where you can see the flyers for the week as well, checking what's on sale. And buying generic. I know for some people they really stick to name brands and certain products that's important to them, but typically your generic food is going to be significantly cheaper, right? So it's the store brand versus the large chain name. Okay, are there any other questions so far? We're going to move on to a little activity, if not. Okay, so we are going to create a My Plate meal. Okay, this is an example of what a My Plate meal could look like with some different food groups here. And I'm going to show you 3 types of grains. Okay, so when we're making a My Plate meal, we want to try to include at least 3 food groups if we can to get the most of nutrients and benefits. So on screen I have a whole wheat bread, whole wheat pasta, and a brown rice. Can you think of a quick and healthy meal that you could put together using at least one of those whole grains in it? Could be breakfast, lunch, or dinner. What would you make with one of those whole grains?
Well, I told you before about using that brown rice
Yes.
for those different recipes.
Yeah. So you have like some shrimp in one of them, right? So you have protein, your vegetables, and your grain, right? So you have that
And I try to avoid the breads because that's
Right.
way too much carbs.
for your health condition, absolutely, yeah.
And there are some whole grain quickie pastas also
Yeah.
that you can use.
Yeah.
Look, as a 90-second version.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would do for my quick meal, I love brown rice, so I mentioned that stir fry or fried rice earlier. So that brown rice, I always have like frozen vegetables on hand. I might have some chicken that I can quickly saute, add a little bit of soy sauce or other dressings, and add a meal. Do you have any?
no, the only thing I go with a lot of rice,
Yeah.
brown rice,
Nice.
and try to mix something in with it. And a green on the side.
Nice. Yeah. So you have your meals kind of separate, your plate kind of separated out, right? Like you have your meat, maybe your grain, and then your vegetable.
I do, but
Yeah.
I try to do what you emphasize. When I cook, I will cook that I'm going to have that rice for 2 or 3 days.
Yes. Yeah. So stretching your food as well into other meals. Yeah.
One time.
That's great. Yeah. So anytime you can, make a big batch of rice, maybe if you're gonna make a stir fry or you're gonna make your shrimp and veggies, think about, oh, I can use this rice maybe with this soup or with this, salmon I'm making later. Great job. And so one other little tip here I have for eating more whole grains is try to use whole wheat flour in some of your favorite recipes. So has anyone ever used whole wheat flour like in baking? Yeah, I can see some hands.
What, now that you mentioned that, where would you find bran flour? One time in my career, I was making bran bread,
Mhm.
and I would have no idea how to go back to that because I don't remember how I did it.
Yeah.
But
I honestly haven't bought it myself, but I'm assuming in some, stores that have more selection in either probably just in their baking aisle where the flours are. Like I would assume it might be like Hannaford or Market 32 stores. I personally I'm not sure. I don't know if anyone else has seen it before.
It's usually with the specialty flour.
Specialty, yeah.
Gluten-free or whole wheat or something like that.
Yeah. So the aisle that's like gluten-free specialty breads or flours.
I learned it from an old farmer
Yeah.
who made his own bread, and he always made bran bread. And at one time, I knew how to do it, but it eludes me now.
Yeah. Well, I hope you find it.
I hope I do too.
Yeah, I think that she's correct. That's where it will be. So I like to use whole wheat flour for like pizza dough, for a whole wheat pizza crust, or in like desserts. Sometimes I do like half white flour, half whole wheat flour. Again, it's just a way to get more fiber, especially, and more of those B vitamins and minerals as well. All right, thank you for sharing. I'm going to have enough time for our food demo, so I'm going to quickly go past these, but we were going to think about, low-fat dairy. I like sharing that I would do like a yogurt parfait, like low-fat yogurt, some fruit on there, and
Greek yogurt.
Greek yogurt, yeah, more protein. And be careful of the yogurts with if they have fruit in them, it's a lot more sugar. You could add your fruit yourself instead. You can always replace butter, cream, or sour cream with yogurt. So a lot of people might put like yogurt on top of chili or like in dips and stuff. They might put sour cream on top of chili or put a dip with sour cream. You can replace that with Greek yogurt, which is lower in fat, higher in that protein. It's pretty cool. And then meats as well, trying to think of where you could use those. There's lots of places there, but we're gonna skip past that so we have time. And one of my tips though is try having one meatless meal a week, using things like beans or chickpeas or lentils. Does anyone do that, or is it crazy not to eat meat ever? I see another hand. Do you usually eat meat a lot, or do you ever have just vegetable-based meat, protein?
Well, my daughter is big on the plant type meat.
Yeah.
I eat it, but I'm not particularly enamored one way or the other.
Yeah.
And I'm also a hunter, so I look forward to the hunting season where I process a deer or something like that.
Nice. And nothing wrong with meat, right? But just to help us get more plant-based protein in our diet, and also a little bit more affordable sometimes, right? Getting that plant-based. Okay. So I do have another handout for you all about getting kids involved in the kitchen, if you have kids or not, or relatives that help you cook. There's a lot of different just ideas on what you could do to have them help in the kitchen, which also helps you save time yourself, right? If they're helping you prep. If they're younger, there's a lot of different kind of activities that you could do with them. Having them measure things out or mix things, say the names of the foods and such. So this handout that you're getting is from age 2 and younger all the way up to like 9 to 13-year-olds. So something you can take home with you if it's applicable. But again, getting your family involved as well is going to help you enjoy mealtime and maybe help the kids start to learn healthier choices and make it a fun little event to put together.
Is this from a particular site, or is this from Cornell Cooperative?
This handout I just gave you, it's from a curriculum we use, a national program called Cooking Matters. So Cooking Matters, share our strength.
I have several nieces who have young children,
Good,
3, 4, and she's constantly sending pictures of them cooking or helping.
Yeah. So maybe you can share that with them. That'd be awesome. All right. So we are now going to talk briefly about the first page of this handout that I gave you, or not the first page. What I'm going to share is all in this packet. You can follow along, or you can, look through it all at home. But we have a few tips for planning and preparing that I want to mention quickly, and then we're going to get into our demo. Okay. So some of them we already went through. I think there's one more. All right, so using that list, we talked about joining the rewards program. I think a lot of people know about this, right? You want to join the rewards program, get your cash back to use for, sometimes you get money off for future purchases, or you get items sometimes. And also like coupons, right? Getting coupons is attached to the store app, where you can, attach those coupons to the card or whatever it is. So always great to look into that. We talked about choosing foods that cost less year-round, making sure your pantry is stocked with, rice, oatmeal, canned fruits and vegetables are frozen, just things you can easily have on hand that are low cost and make meals out of. Properly store fresh, stock your kitchen and properly store fresh food. So this is important to avoid food waste, right? You spend a lot of money on all your food and maybe you don't cook with it and you throw it away. That is wasting your money and not letting you eat the food. So making sure that you are, paying attention to things that are in your fridge or in the pantry, using things that are the oldest first will help with that. And then buying fruits and vegetables in season, right? That always helps you save money. Right now, apples, winter squash, and root veggies are all in season. They're more affordable, fresh. You can usually get a lot of them, frozen or canned, but using them now when they are readily available, especially from like farmers markets or CSAs, if anyone's involved in that, it's a great way to get them in. So does anyone want to share which of these tips you already do, or if there's any others you don't do? You can, which one?
I was reading it, you know.
Move back to my face. You can just share the number or you can share the tip.
What, you talk about sharing,
Which one you use already?
well, eating food in season
Yeah.
is number one. And then I have a garden across the street at home and so forth. And it's nice just to go out and pick it out there. But the storage is so important. And we have a lot of farmers from all having their food where you can buy it now.
Yeah. That's great.
Especially if you get down Route 8.
Mm-hmm.
The farmer down there on Route 8 is very good, very good.
Excellent. All right, so we have buying fruits and vegetables in season. I know for me, making that list is really important. Keeping my kitchen stocked with some staple foods that I can always shop with really help me for planning.
I use the shopping list as soon as I see it, something's running low.
Yeah,
I start writing my list
yeah.
and then just keep on going as the week.
I just kind of do that on my phone, but some people will put like a list on their fridge, right? So they can like write down what they need immediately to get to.
All right, I review all the coupons and the flyer before
Good.
I complete the list.
Yeah, excellent. You're doing great things already. So these are some tips for preparing. So to again help you save time, save money, eat healthy. So looking for shortcuts. This could be, looking for sales on pre-chopped or ready-to-go foods. Typically those are more expensive, but if you ever see a sale on them, it's great to get them because it will save you time for making them. And preparing meals everyone enjoys. A lot of families might make, different dishes for kids that are picky or family members that are picky eaters. And that can really add up, extra money or food waste because it's not all getting eaten. So try to find those family favorite meals that everyone can enjoy to avoid that. No-cook meals are one of my favorites for when I'm short on time. I like to make like salads or rice bowls, chocolate lots of vegetables or protein, ready to go. Sandwiches are a good no-cook meal. Again, things to have on hand that are easy. Cook when you have more time. So we mentioned that. So cooking on the day that works for you. And finding new recipes that work for you. So I did share our website, snapheadny.org. There's a lot of great recipes on there that you can research and look into. And then involve kids in the kitchen if that is relevant to you. Because again, family time, helping them learn new healthy choices, and less on you. Have them help clean up, right? So you don't have to do all of it. All right, there's a lot more information. So again, refer back to those handouts so that you can learn more. If you have any questions, I do have my contact here at the end, but I just wanted to review. These are our objectives that we went over today. Planning meals that are easy, affordable, healthy, and fast. Shopping for low-cost foods from all of my plate food groups. And again, involving your families in making meals. And everything you eat and drink over time matters. Make every bite count. Small changes make a big difference. Yeah.
With me, I made a concerted effort to be avoiding like cakes and desserts of any sort, and eliminate my carbs.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, okay, that means the money that I can be using for going to these line things, I'll splurge and get a nice piece of fish
Mm-hmm.
or get the shrimp or whatever, because I've saved that money by not buying garbage.
Yeah. That's a really great budgeting tool almost, right? So extra money that you spend on things you don't need, use it towards good things. So, healthier choices maybe that are a little more expensive. Great, thank you for sharing. Well, I want to thank you all for paying attention during this presentation. We are going to move over to the food demo, but I want to make sure no one has any other questions. Again, this is not again, this is my contact. If anyone did have any further questions, my email is right there. And that is the information for our regional manager as well. And I do need to say that this lesson was funded by USDA SNAP program, and USDA is an equal opportunity provider. And you can learn more about SNAP-Ed on our website, snapedny.org. And let's get into our food demo. Hope you guys are hungry. All right, so do you mind passing this out for me? We are going to make a soup called Three Sisters Soup. And since you're a farmer, that might be, you might be familiar with the term Three Sisters. Have you heard that before?
Three?
Three Sisters?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So, Three Sisters refers to the crops that when planted together grow well. So corn, beans, and squash grow well together and are known as Three Sisters. So we're going to make a soup with those ingredients along with some others. So this recipe is a really great way to include lots of your vegetables and protein in a delicious, easy dish. And you can put whatever produce you like in there. And if you have kids or family at home, they can choose and help you make it as well. So I do want to show you that this recipe has a great way to vary your veggies, right? There's lots of vegetables in there. And we get that bean protein from the beans. And so 2 food groups, you could serve it with bread or rice and add some cheese, and you would have a more complete My Plate meal. But otherwise, this has the 2, but it is loaded with a lot of very healthy vegetables. Okay, so I'm gonna go through the ingredients and then we'll get started cooking. Before I ever cook, I wanna make sure I wash my hands with soap and warm water. So since I don't have that right now, I'm gonna use hand sanitizer and gloves. Okay, so let me show you these ingredients. So we're gonna start with a vegetable oil. Now you can use whatever vegetable oil works for you, or olive oil, but we wanna try to use oils rather than butter, right, for less saturated fat. Okay, trying to remember to put my ingredients in there. So to preserve time, I did dice and chop my carrot, onion, and garlic ahead of time, and I cooked that back at our office. It smelled really good. So I have that stuff done already, but we want to dice the carrot, onion, and garlic. We have summer or winter squash. So I chose butternut squash, and as you can see, I did a frozen variety. It was on sale, but you can use fresh. You could use the pre-chopped fresh, or you could even use canned pumpkin or butternut squash. But I chose this frozen variety. Put in there. And did I miss anything? Yes, I did. Corn and beans. All right, I'll show you like this. So corn, 1 can of corn. You could use frozen, canned, or fresh again. And when you're in canned, look for that no salt added. I did that and also rinsed it off. Beans, you could do more than 1 bean. You could do any kind you wanted. Black kidney, chickpea, added kidney beans. I thought that would be tasty with other ingredients. Again, I got low sodium, and I rinsed them off, right, to get rid of that extra sodium. And then I got diced tomato. You could also use 1 can, or you can use, I believe it's 2 cups fresh. So fresh or canned is also acceptable here. All right, and then in terms of seasoning, we have the garlic in there, and then it's cumin, or you could also do like Italian seasoning, or you could do a curry version. But today I'm gonna do that cumin variety. And to make it into the soup, I have chicken broth. I chose chicken broth. They had a low sodium one. It was 140 milligrams per 1 cup. But you could do stock as well, or you can make your own. And you could do any flavor, but just be careful about sodium if you do buy it pre-made. Yeah.
Now, is that low sodium or no sodium added?
This one is low sodium.
So the no sodium added will be even less than sodium.
No sodium added should be, it will only have a little bit naturally. Yeah. And again, this was for cost. I got this one because they didn't have any no salt added that was affordable this week, and that wasn't like a beef, or, yeah, it was just the price, I believe, is why I chose this one. And it wasn't too bad, right? 140, because I'm not adding any other salt otherwise, right? I got all the low sodium beans and rinse them off. But great question. All right, so since I already cooked my carrots and onion and garlic, I'm gonna add just a tiny bit more of my vegetable oil to get it warm again. There we go.
Is that like a fancy hot plate?
It is, it's an induction cooker. It's pretty great. It's like a little stove here. All right, so I'm gonna let that warm up, and then I'll add that in. All right, so again, with all the canned things, really look for that low sodium. I'm using my own like herbs and spices, right? It's a great way to add flavor instead of salt. So whenever you can use those seasonings or spices and herbs to limit that sodium in there. All right, so this soup is a great way to get lots of vegetables in your diet. We're using in-season produce. I know I bought it frozen, but it is like a recipe that you can use different seasonal ingredients, right, to save money, which is really great. And we're eating all the colors, which is really great. So there's a lot of nutrition in here and lots of fiber. Can't stress the fiber enough. This cooks up very fast too. The other thing I want to mention is I'm going to make the recipe, I'm going to cut the recipe in half because I only have the smaller pot today. But if you make it as is, it has 8 servings, which is pretty great. You can have lots of leftovers or feed a family, which is really great. All right, so since that's already cooked, I can move on to the next steps here, which is to add in my squash and corn.
Is there a reason why you do these frozen corn and beans?
I didn't use what, sorry?
Frozen corn and beans, my understanding they have more nutrition left in them than the canned.
For my, the reason I didn't buy the frozen is because I didn't need that much, but at home it might be better because you can use it in other places, but for work, we only need it a little bit. And in terms of the nutrition, it's not any more nutritious because when they freeze or can, they do it at peak, so it preserves it.
So it's a misconception.
What did you say, sorry?
It's a misconception.
Yeah.
It's a matter of how you want to store it too.
Correct. All right, so I got my squash in there and corn in it. So I had already rinsed that off beforehand. I think fresh would be really good in there too. So we're gonna let that cook for a few minutes, and then we're gonna add in the beans. I gotta open my tomatoes here. So I do have some they're fun nutritional facts about the ingredients in this recipe, just so you can know more about how good they are for you. So, does anyone know what carrots are good for? How do they help vision? What nutrient they have? You're correct with vision. Do you know what nutrient it has?
No.
A?
Yep, good job. A, which is beta carotene. So all the orange vegetables and fruit have beta carotene, which is really good for you. It's got that fiber. It's got vitamin K, potassium, and antioxidants. So all fruit and vegetables have antioxidants that help prevent cancers, your risk for cancer. And you probably know this, there's a lot of other colors of carrots. Do you know the other colors that you can grow carrots in? Lots, like purple, there's yellow, there's white,
I haven't seen
red.
yellow.
Yeah.
I've seen yellow.
Pretty cool. We like showing them to our, the kids that we teach, because it blows their mind. They've never seen the different colors. It's really fun. Okay, our butternut squash also is that orange color, right? So it's got that vitamin A, it's got that beta carotene. It's also rich in vitamin C. Do you know what vitamin C helps us with?
Immune system.
Yep, our immune system. It also helps with healing scrapes and cuts. So, and building collagen, right? So, protecting your skin and your hair and your nails. Lots of good benefits.
Protein, that pinto,
What'd you say?
Great Northern or what?
I got the kidney beans.
Kidney.
Kidney. So, adding in the beans and the corn, and I'm going to add in the tomatoes. I'm going to do half though, because my pan here is small.
And my understanding is different canned beans have different amounts of iron.
Correct, yep. Kidneys, a good source of iron. Black beans are as well. And I'm also going to add in my broth now. Everything else is going to go in the pot now, and then we're going to let it turn to a boil. So once we do that, I'll share some more fun facts. All right,
And I'm
so
looking at what you're doing, and that would be the perfect sort of thing to add either some whole grain rice or pasta, like
absolutely.
pasta or something.
Yep, and that would make it more of a my plate meal, right? We have no greens in here right now. There's a lot of carbohydrates, but they're from the vegetables. But you could definitely add in, serve it with bread or rice or pasta. That's one of my favorite things. I make chili a lot, and I mix it with with pasta and cheese, maybe like macaroni cheese and chili. All right, so I'm gonna add in the cumin and the little bit of pepper, and then we're gonna let it come to a boil, and it'll be ready. I love this dish too because there's so many different flavors you can do, right? If you wanted to do a curry, does anyone come with curry at all? Curry powder?
I don't use it much.
No,
but
it's
I
so
like it.
good. Flavorful. Italian seasoning, oregano or basil. Thyme, yep. Alright, so this is all added. I'm gonna let it come to a boil and then turn it down.
You got tremendous equipment here.
I know, isn't that great? It's all portable too, which is awesome. Didn't have to look too much in. All right, so to write everything in there, sometimes I'm like, did I forget? Okay, we're good. Okay, so that is really quick and easy, right? That didn't take me very long. When I sauteed the veggies earlier, it was like 5-10 minutes to get them soft. So yeah, the kidney beans. So like most beans, it's a really good source of fiber. And I always say, with eating a lot of fiber, make sure you are drinking water as well, because it can have the reverse. Yes, it can have the reverse of what you want if you eat too many beans and fiber without that water. So make sure you're getting that water with all that fiber, especially this dish. It has so much fiber. So also has, the kidney beans also have, besides fiber, they get lots of protein in them, plant protein. What else does it have? Iron and folate. So really good nutrition in beans. I eat them a lot. So my diet is also predominantly plant-based. So I'm eating a lot of beans for my protein. Our tomatoes. So you could use canned or fresh, like I mentioned. So tomatoes are botanically a fruit, right? Everyone says it's a fruit, but it's eaten like a vegetable because it's not sweet. So it's a major source of the antioxidant lycopene, which helps with cancer prevention and reduce risk of heart disease. So I always think of that with tomatoes, right? They're red like a heart, so you think of it helping prevent heart disease. And it's also rich in fiber. It is rich in vitamin C, again with the color, and potassium and folate. And then our corn. Our corn is always controversial because it is high in carbohydrates, so a lot of people who are diabetic can't eat it. However, it is rich in that fiber as well, so it's going to help. It's going to help better with that absorption of that sugar. It's also rich in vitamin C, B, and it's potassium as well. So, does everyone know that with sodium, if you have high levels of sodium in your diet, you eat potassium to kind of counteract that. Have you heard that before? We want to eat potassium a lot, right, to counteract high sodium in our diet. Yeah. So foods that are high in potassium are things like sweet potatoes. Our corn has it. So it's important to get more sources of that. Bananas.
So in actuality, if I'm trying to limit my potassium, I should be having more sodium.
Not necessarily. Just avoiding foods that are very high in it, like the potatoes and stuff, the bananas. Great. So again, eating a diet rich in fruits and vegetables helps reduce your risk for cancers and diseases. So this recipe is a great way to do just that. Okay, I'm going to go back to my slides for a moment and show a little bit about the cost of this. Okay, so this recipe, like I said, makes 8 servings, and the serving is 1 cup each. So again, lots to serve your whole family. So when I bought this at the store, again, it depends on the week and where you shop, but when I just bought this week, it cost me $8.65. And I didn't use all my broth, right? So I could stretch that to another meal. My spices and my oil I had on hand, so that is the cost without those ingredients. But it comes out to about $1.08 per serving with that, which is pretty good. I used those seasonal canned and frozen vegetables, which helped me save money. It's so versatile that you can use whatever vegetable you want. I think like sweet potato would be good in here, or any winter squash right now. You could also do a vegetable squash. And I think I would like to do chickpeas. I really like chickpeas. And like you mentioned before, serve it with rice or bread or whatever to make it more of a whole meal. All right, so this is to boil now. Smells really good. Can you smell it?
That makes
Do the math.
sense.
And looking at it, it's very eye-appealing.
Doesn't it look like fall?
No.
If you just look at that and it's
Yeah.
fall. So beautiful.
Now, I am confused a little bit about the protein. My understanding is when you get protein, is from non-animal sources, that you need to make sure that you get, there's protein that you can get from grains
Right.
and from nuts and seeds,
Yes.
from some of your grains. So my understanding is you have to sort of balance some of them because they complement each other.
Correct.
And if you only have one source of the partial animal protein, that you're not necessarily going to end up getting any better than protein at all.
Right. That's a great point. So that's predominantly the plant protein source. So like beans, it doesn't have all the essential amino acids that are found in protein. So if you pair it with like a grain, like rice, then you get complete. Animal proteins are more complete. You don't have to worry about them. Have you ever heard of the grain quinoa? Quinoa. Quinoa.
Yes,
Quinoa.
yes, sort of like.
It's like rice, kind of.
Oh, okay.
That one is a complete, it provides complete protein amino acids. So there's some that are a little different, but you are correct in general, you want to pair them. But that kind of goes back to what you were saying, right? You want to try to, when you're eating a dish, you want to have at least 3 of those food groups, which is going to help you meet that goal.
Is that similar to couscous?
A little bit, yeah. Couscous.
Now, the thing that you're not mentioning here, which I enjoy, is the various types of cooking. You got the oven, you got the stove you got the air dryer, you got the deep fryer, you got the set and forget it.
Yeah.
And I remember them all.
Yeah.
It's great. And then an area I haven't gotten into is the blending of drinks.
Oh, it
I
doesn't really.
think you touched on it a little.
I drink one every morning for breakfast.
Yeah.
They're very good. I like it because it's easy to go, and I put fruit and vegetables in it. I put protein sources, I put dairy, and I top it with like granola. So I get like a complete meal in my smoothie, but I like to chew it, so I put the granola on top. But yeah, that's one I recommend trying.
Well,
If it's your thing.
my daughter has been through chemo
Mm.
and all, and I personally am a believer that anyone that has that type of battle should be much more food conscious.
Yeah.
But I don't seem to be able to get her into it.
What would be a good suggestion instead of the tomatoes? That complement the
I think the
flavors
acidity.
and nutrition.
I mean, you could just leave them out if you want. I saw a lot of other, this one would work for you, but I was looking at other Three Sisters soups, and a lot of times I use potatoes in them instead. That doesn't replace that at all. But maybe bell pepper. Do you have bell pepper?
And peppers, yeah.
I'm just thinking
Yeah,
of
watch
color.
potatoes.
You can still make it without the tomatoes. It's fine. Yeah.
Just use the broth.
Yeah. And you still have other vegetables, but you could do, you could use peppers in here.
What about
You just
like
celery?
broccoli or cauliflower?
Yeah. I would like celery. Celery would be good with the carrots and onions, you know, that little mixture to begin with. Okay, so I think this is ready to serve, so I'm gonna pass that out soon. I do just wanna say, you can keep this in the fridge for about 3 days, and otherwise you can freeze it for up to a month though, if you don't eat it all. It's great to have on hand. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this lesson today, and if you have any final questions, please let me know. Again, you can check out our website, snapedny.org, for more recipes and ideas. And remember, small changes make a big difference. Thanks for joining.
You're terrific. You're terrific.